Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. We are so excited to have you again. President Muhammadu Buhari is under serious pressure now over the issue of restructuring. Don't forget that PDP have talked about it. Other persons have spoken about it, but it seems as if it was just an opposition issue or some persons who want to, destroy the present day government. But right now, even even APC governors are soliciting for the same thing, that Nigeria should be restructured, not just APC. Elder statements, some very reasonable Nigerians have decided to speak up about the issue of restructuring. But first of all, we just want to look at what a renowned APC governor has to say about this restructuring. And this governor is actually Rufai, Nasa Rufai of Kaduna State. And he says that the time to restructure Nigeria is now, and it is time to restructure Nigeria in order to ensure equitable distribution of resources. Speaking at a public lecture to commemorate the 50th anniversary of Arewa House held in Kaduna on Saturday, the governor maintained that restructuring the country is in the best interest of ensuring sustainable development. Let me read the exact words that he used during that particular meeting. He says here, and I quote, "I am not aware of any significant constituency that is against the idea that states should exercise consequential powers, assume more responsibility, and control resources to enable them deliver better outcomes for those they govern. This will empower state governments to cease passing the buck to the president and the federal government when most of the problems our citizens face daily as a nation are and can be solved by improved and focused governance at the state level," he said. He went further to say again, "It is time to make these sort of well defined restructuring work for the benefit of the people of this country." The report of our APC True Federalism Committee put in one place the recommendations and the legislative amendment to give life to a restructure policy. I therefore call on our federal legislatures and the National Assembly Ad hoc Committee on Constitutional Review to take advantage of our report and initiate the constitutional and legislative amendment in either a piecemeal or comprehensive manner without further delay. We therefore have no excuse not to seize this moment and do the heavy lifting for our country and our people. It is in our own hands to make the structures, laws, and constitutional arrangement in our country conducive to modern governance that will ensure our nation strive in the 21st century. Now, this was coming from an APC governor. That's from uh, El Rufai. Now, let's also look at what some elder statesmen had to say. And the news having that notable elder statesmen and socio-cultural leaders on Saturday had converged, saying Nigeria was long overdue for restructuring, while warning the federal government that the country was bleeding from bad leadership and poor policies. The statement added that the government must not take Nigerians for granted as the security and sociocultural situation of the country was deteriorating. At the program, which held virtually, were a leader of a Feniferi sociocultural group, Chief Ayo Adebanjo, a former presidential candidate, and a saving overseer of Citadel Global Community Church, formerly known as Letter Rain Assembly, Lagos, Pastor Tunde Bakare, a former presidential candidate, and political economist Professor Utomi, and the Are Kakanfo of Yoruba land, Gani Adams. Others were political scientist Mr. Akin Osuntoku and singer Onyeka Onwenu and Idris Abdulkarim. The program was themed NSAS Consolidation of Handshake Across the Niger, an interaction session with Iba Gani Adams and Igbo stroke Yoruba champions. The session was moderated by publisher of Ovation Media Group Chief Dele Momodu and Mazi Azoke. Afenifere chieftain Adebanjo said that the president, Major General Buhari, had chosen to remain stubborn despite calls by several elder statesmen and sections of the country that Nigeria was due for restructuring. Adebanjo noted that the country must return to the 1960 independent constitution when the region had autonomy. He said, and I quote his word, he said, "My view is that we don't look into the past. The way forward is for us to join hands together for the unity of this country. It is not the question of self-determination that we are after. Anybody opposing restructuring is an enemy of a united Nigeria. Buhari is an enemy of the country by not restructuring. Hmm. If we don't restructure, this country cannot stay. I am not opposed to self determination, but self determination is the last resort. We are not going to beg to be a part of Nigeria. The government of the day should be reasonable enough to restructure this country on the basis of true federalism from the outset. We have insisted that we cannot keep this country together in a unitary system of government. A lot of problems we are having now are self-inflicted by the northern hegemony. Is Buhari more Fulani than the Sadwana of Sokoto? If we don't understand what restructuring is, let's go back to the independent constitution. The problem we have now was brought by the military. The military gave us this constitution and imposed state and local government arbitrarily. Hence, people are cheated. The present system we are using was created by the military. All the leaders of this country have been telling Buhari, restructure this country. He remains stubborn, and what we have are killings. I wonder, I wouldn't live in this country under this constitution. I like to warn the Igbos that they are deceiving themselves that they will give the Igbo presidency. They are also deceiving Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. I want to make it clear again that if you make my son the president under this constitution, I will oppose him. I am an embittered Nigeria because of what Buhari is doing to us. If we agree to be an equitable if we agree to an equitable deal, there will be no problem. Give us regional autonomy. Also, the Ariona Kakamfo, Gani Adams, in his remark, made a strong case for restructuring, adding that any region was free to call for a breakup if restructuring was not heeded. He said, when we talk about restructuring without a strategy, it will be very difficult. We'll continue crying for restructuring for about 100 years, and our institution will be destroyed. The generation coming behind us may not have the kind of patience that we have. Look at the recent protests they organized. They have a 7 point demand: education, health, and others. When we say we don't want this country to break, we don't want to go our separate ways, the only thing that can grip the knot and spike their heart is to say if we don't restructure, we will break up. Also, Bakare joined the call for the restructuring of the country. He said, and I quote, "There are those who believe we should go our separate ways, but honestly, we do not subscribe to that view. I have never advocated it. I believe we have restructured Nigeria. I believe we can restructure Nigeria. If we think it has failed, it is because of the people who are not committed to it. Let us be practical. We need a trustful give and take. Restructuring is an idea whose time has come. It will come to pass. I believe very soon that any right thinking leader will know that we are better off together than fighting one another and going our separate ways. If Nigeria can get it right, Africa can get it right." Also, Speaker Utomi said Nigeria should begin to build production clusters instead of the mentality of sharing currently in place. He said, "I can speak of the model of United Arab Emirates and other models. I find myself supporting Pa Adebanjo. Part of the challenges we have had is that this divide and rule politicking has prevented us from focusing on development. The strategy, which many of us have suggested, is closely related to the decentralized approach. As we point out in the UAE, Dubai is one of the Emirates and they are all competing. You have Abu Dhabi and they are competing on who would bring the most progress to their people. This was the competitive communalism in Nigeria in the 1950s. I believe that Nigeria should really be thinking in terms of megalopolis. In Nigeria, we have been playing this game of sharing instead of producing. Who do we put together? How do we put together production clusters that are globally competitive? and build centers of development. This real rubbish about sharing should stop. So many other persons spoke also about the issue of restructuring, which I feel that right now the president is under serious pressure. I'm telling you the truth. The man is under serious pressure considering what is currently happening, as most people are gingering and demanding for restructuring. What's your take on this issue of restructuring? Do you think it's going to be made possible based on how pressurized the president